It is a journey through the Bible with Mukhwana Isaac. I welcome you in a very special way to this episode. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yesterday, we looked at the fall of Jericho, how the Israelites surrounded each day round the walls of Jericho, and on the last day they surrounded 7 times with the trumpets until it collapsed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. We continue learning together. Today we look at the division of the land among the tribes. In chapter 13 of the book of Joshua, we read that before Joshua had died, the land of Canaan was divided among the tribes of Israel. Much of the land had still to be conquered, but yet the division among the tribes was made. The tribe of Levi did not receive any piece of land. Why? It was their special work to look after public worship. Instead, they were given several towns and also the offerings from burnt sacrifices. The tribes of Reuben and Gad had already asked for and been given land outside Canaan, proper in Transjordan. Canaan itself was divided into 10 parts. The tribe of Joseph receiving 2 pieces of land divided among the 2 tribes of the 2 sons of Jacob, that is, Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. And after that, we see the building up the nation. A number of difficulties and problems came in. The Israelites first entered Canaan about 1200 BCE. Although Joshua had won many victories, only part of the whole land had been won for Israel. In fact, the book nearly, the whole event took 200 years before the Israelites could call the whole land of Canaan their own country. And throughout the whole of this time, there were many things. There was no end to political and religious problems. And I want us to look at these problems, political and religious problems. I'll begin with the political difficulties. After the land had been divided among the tribes and Joshua had died, the unity of Israel was a serious danger. There was no real capital city nor any strong leader. So far, the Israelites had been taken only enough. Actually, they had taken only enough towns to give them mastery in name only of the land, but many towns and much valuable farmland, the farmland which was needed for tilling, was still in the hands of the Canaanites, and the Israelites had hardly begun to move toward the rich plain along the coast. Consequently, their military position was still weak, and they were in danger of becoming lost as a nation among the peoples around them. But there was another problem. When the tribes began to live in their own districts, each thought only of itself and not of the whole nation. At times, quarrels broke out among the tribes. The chosen nation thus became less united. Moreover, the Israelites did not carry out God's command to drive out the pagan Canaanites from the land. And so, The Canaanites living in many of the towns around and among the Israelites were always fighting to uh, to 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 win them, and they were also always fighting the new what the newcomers. There were enemies in the east and in the west wanting to take the land from the chosen people. The Philistines on the west along the coast, a very fierce and warlike people, continuously attacked the Israelites. On the east was the desert, from which nomadic tribes would come and raid the land. And the second problem here they faced, I would love us to talk about, is religious problems. But of course, the nearness of the Israelites to the Canaanites brought an even greater danger. The danger of leaving God and following the easier religion of their pagan neighbors. The temptation was strong and always present, and many Israelites gave in to that temptation. To prevent this temptation, God had commanded the Israelites to destroy the Canaanites whenever they fought against them. But the Israelites, yes, did not always carry out this command. Consequently, they soon fell into Canaanite idolatry, leaving their God and getting another. Religious syncretism was practiced at one point. And so in the wilderness, before entering Canaan, the Israelites had been herdsmen. When they settled in Canaan, they continued to keep their animals on the hills, but they also went into the fertile plains and became farmers. This changed their way of life. Actually, the change of life was not easy. They mixed with the Canaanites in order to learn how to do farm work. This mixing with the pagans and had a bad influence on the religion of the Israelites. They married into pagan families, adored Canaanite pagan gods, idols, and prayed like the Canaanites to false gods for good harvest. The result was that many Israelites forgot the one true God and neglected the true religion for the worship of pagan idols. On the other hand, the 12 tribes did keep some sort of unity. From time to time, they renewed the covenant and developed the law to meet new changes. Actually, there were places throughout the country where God was officially worshipped, especially Shiloh, the place we call Shiloh, where the Ark of the Covenant with the tablets of the law were kept. And so the position of Israel was not very comfortable, but God always protecting his people, even from themselves. That has been the episode for today. Tomorrow we shall we shall now see God sending leaders to save his people, and the judges. If you've heard of judges in the Bible, we shall now look at that. I want to give you the history, how things moved right from the book of Genesis. And now you are seeing that after these problems, now God sees that his people are perishing. He brings in the judges. I have been Mukhwana Isaac with a journey through the Bible. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be blessed.